Growing up, I was probably the pickiest kid you could ever imagine. I wouldn't eat anything. No vegetables, barely any meat, barely any fruits. I hated almost everything. The only thing you could ever get me to eat was probably chips. But I realized that in order to be healthy and to do better, you need to expand. You need to expand your ability to eat more and to have nutritious diets and food. Now, speaking of food, it's not only about food and what you eat, it's about change and making good changes in your life, not only for yourself, but for the world around you. Growing up, I lived in Canada for 7 years of my life. It was very nice, very cold, but I felt it was a home for me. It was somewhere I felt where I could truly be myself. But then, at the age of 7, my parents told me that I was moving to the Congo. It was a shock. I wasn't ready. I cried. I couldn't sleep. I barely ate. But I realized that this was my new reality, and I had to accept it. Moving there wasn't easy. I didn't really speak French all too well at that time. I didn't understand the different types of culture, the new foods, everything. It was new. It was different. But I wasn't open to that change at that time. I rejected it. I tried to keep my old ways, like how I lived in Canada, which led to me not having so many friends that first year. But then I chose to adapt. I chose to accept my future, to accept where I was at that time, and to adapt to what my reality had become. 7 long years there, I realized that it had become a second home for me. I loved that place. My school, my home, my friends, all of it. And I thought that I would maybe even graduate there. And who knows, build a life there. But then, once again, my dad told me I was leaving to Indonesia. Another shock for me. Asia, I'd never been there before. And I was so scared because I didn't think they spoke English, and I know they didn't speak French, so how would I communicate, make friends, do anything? It was a hard move, but in Indonesia, it was different. Not like the way it was in Congo. It was more restrained. Many people there didn't understand my experience. They didn't understand what it was like changing schools, living in different places, essentially having to change your personality in a way. It was very new to not only me, but them as well. I know that all of you here have had to experience change in one way or another, but whether you were open to it and accepted it is something else. I often viewed change as something negative, something bad, something that I didn't want to happen, having a simple life, they say. But if nothing changes and everything's the same, then what are you even doing? A mundane life and routine is boring. Humans will get tired of doing the same thing, eating the same thing, learning the same things. We have to do something different, make changes. But often, change isn't something that you can predict, something that you have control over. It's something that is simply just sprung upon you. Now, I'm not going to lie to you all and say that making changes is easy and that you simply need to flip the switch. But you need to change your mindset. Really think about it in a more positive light. When something is going on and it's bad, don't think about it on the bad side. Think of how something like this can change your view on the world, how you can learn from this kind of experience, adapt to it, really just embrace it and make you better. Moving to China was probably the best change of them all. This new school, the city, everything was so new to me. A big city, a lot of transport, it was amazing. And to be honest, CISB was very welcoming to me. But I didn't understand a lot of things. The way the customs were, the way in which the streets were, and why the traffic lights just didn't seem to do anything. But I had to get used to it. And honestly, China has been one of the easiest places to adapt to. And I think one of the greatest reasons for that is because it's so open to different types of people and different types of people with different learning experiences and their own personal differences. So for that reason, I was able to quickly change. And I was able to make a lot of new friends, not only in my school, but outside of it, learning a lot of new things, even learning a little bit of Chinese while I did so. So, for all of you in the audience, when your next shock or surprise or bad news comes along, it's important to remember that there will be a good outcome from it. And even if initially you're not able to see it, you're not able to understand it, or you can't visualize your future, you need to trust that through change, you will develop, and that through change, good things will come. As change isn't something that we're always able to understand firsthand, but once it happens, then we're able to not only comprehend the impacts, but also how it was able to change us for the better and make our lives easier. Throughout all my changes, great or small, I understood one thing only. And that thing was not to ever reject it, not to ever just put it down. It was to help and think of it as something that took me up, that made me better. And I think that with me standing here right now, I am the way I am because of every single bad, good, and mediocre experience. So, thank you to you all, and I hope you all learned something from this and are able to understand that change is incoming and that always to think of it with an open mind and positively. Thank you.